Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm basically gonna follow up on my last video, which I basically talked about the program I wrote to recover back from not working out for a while and also from my knee injury, and like explain the choices I made for each day exercise. I ran that program from the end of June to the end of August, so 2 months. So that program basically got me back to working out. For each of my specific lifts, my squat was like at the bar because my knee injury, so I got my squat back up to around 190 for a triple. And I got my bench up to 120 for a triple, and my bench at the beginning was like at 95. And then I also got my deadlift up to 235 for a triple. And I started with a 185 deadlift. So yeah, I basically improved my lifts a lot on that program, but now that it's kind of getting harder to improve, especially with bench, because I'm getting closer to where I was before I like lost all my strength. So I'm like around 80-ish% of my max for bench and deadlift, and I'm around 70% for squat. So especially for bench, it's like kind of stalling, and the reason why is because I just need to add more bench volume. So that's why I rewrote my program to basically like move me a step forward, since the other program was like very basic, to kind of get me back into working out. Now it's more like pushing my SBD numbers. And yeah, I'll be going over my program and show you guys the changes I made. I did this program last week for my deload week, and then this week it's like week 1 of this new block. I did half of the workouts already, and I already benched 125 for a triple, which like is really good since my bench has been stalling for such a long time. And as soon as I added in more volume, like my bench was so much more easier. So this was my program beforehand. So there wasn't a lot of exercises. It was like 4 exercises per day, and now I'm going to do way more exercises to just add more volume in. What I'm doing now is I'm splitting up my main work and my accessory work. So I'm doing most of my important stuff like my SPD and usually like rows and that kind of stuff in the afternoon, and then do accessories at night, since I don't have like a really long time period to work out. But that way it's like more recovery for me, and also I could do more volume in a given day. But like the whole workout itself is not longer than an hour 30 minutes. So starting with the SBD lifts, on day 1 I'm doing a tempo bench single at RP 7.5, and then I'm doing some bench volume. So I like to do a heavy bench tempo single because that, first of all, makes you practice heavyweight, and 2, with tempo bench, like I sometimes have problems with touching at the right place and like kind of controlling the weight on the way down. So tempo bench has really helped me, and also like a longer pause like helps me practice for meets. That's why I like doing tempo bench singles, and also that way I can get heavy bench work in twice a week without tiring myself out that much. And then after that I just do 3 sets of 69 for bench volume, and that's like lower weight. That's not paused because I don't like pausing anything over 5 reps. But yeah, that is my main bench work for day 1. And I'm just gonna skip to the other bench work so you can see like the SBD picture. I'm doing more bench on day 3, and that's like my main bench day. So I'm doing a triple at RP 8, so pretty heavy triple. And then I'm doing between 3 to 5 reps for 4 sets, and usually that is minus 5 pounds for my first and second set of back offs. And then for my third and fourth set of back offs, I subtract 5 pounds again. I usually can't like power through 4 sets of that under RP 8.5, so that's why I'm doing 2 drops. So like for example, this week I did 125 for my top bench triple, and then I did 120 for 2 sets of 3, and then 115 for 2 sets, which I ended up doing 4 reps on the first set. So that's my main bench day. And then I'm also doing more bench on day 5. So I'm doing some close grip bench after I do deadlifts, and that's just 3 sets, 7 to 10. And this is like more of my chest volume and also triceps. So when I say close grip bench, for me that means like a little bit more narrow than usual. So usually I do index finger on a ring, and close grip bench would mean pinky on a ring. So it's still like using a good amount of chest, but it does increase my range of motion and also it's more tricep work, and it carries really well to my actual bench. So like in the past I would just do push-ups, but I feel like push-ups don't translate well to my bench, so that's why I'm sticking with closed grip bench. So that is like my main bench work and chest work throughout the whole week. Next is deadlift, so I added another deadlift day. So on day 2 I'm doing pause deadlifts, so 2 by 2 to 4 reps. And the reason why I'm doing pause is because it teaches me how to stay tight and pull the slack out, and also be in like the right positioning. For this week I did 200 for 2 sets of 2 to 3, and I don't do too many sets because doing a lot of pause deadlifts, especially conventional, it really does tire out my lower back. So that's why I only do 2 sets at RP7, and then after that I do some stiff leg deadlifts at RP7, 3 sets. And the reason why I do stiff leg deadlifts instead of Romanian is because I can reset each time, so it's more similar to my deadlifts. And also the reason why I picked this accessory is because I feel like I'm more quad dominant since I was a squat specialist, so I just want to work out my hamstrings and my posterior chain a little bit more. And also like the increase the range of motion helps me with getting the bar off the floor, which is my sticking point. And then for my other deadlift day, which is on my day 5, I do a top triple at RP8, which is like what I do for all 3 of my lifts. And then I do some back offs at 2 sets for 3 to 5 reps. So that's not like a lot of back off work, because for conventional, if I do a lot of back off work, that's like really tiring for my lower back. After that I'm doing barbell hip thrust, which is the best glute work for me, and it carries well to squat and deadlift, and also I can load good weight on it. So I do 3 sets of that at 6 to 10 reps. And so those are like my deadlift and deadlift accessory work. And then last but not least, I have squat on day 4, and I have a triple at RP7 and then another triple at RP8, which is usually a 10-pound difference. And then I do 2 sets of 5 to 6, and that's like a 25-pound jump from my second set. So the reason why I'm not just going straight forward to my top set like how I do with bench and deadlift is that for me I need like more practice to get used to the movement before I like attack the heavy weight because of like my knee. For bench and deadlift, for me, like usually my first set is my easiest set and my best set, but for squat it's usually my second set. So that's why I set it up that way, so I have my best set be my heaviest set, and then that's also just more volume. And I have my back offs, which I do back off a lot of weight because I want to do more than 3 to 4 reps, so that's why I said 5 to 6. And that's like my main squat hypertrophy work. So yeah, that's squats. It's more volume than last time, but it's still not too much that it's gonna cause any irritation on my knee. Okay, so that's it for my SPD work. Next, I'm just gonna go through all the other exercises. It's kind of the same as I did last time, but I just added a few more exercises, and also I counted the number of sets I have for main work, larger accessory work, and smaller accessory work, and kind of totaled it up to make sure I have like the same amount of volume for each workout day. And also another thing I'm thinking about when I put in accessory work is that like I don't want to do a quad and glute accessory movement the day before I do squats, or I don't want to do a really hard chest or shoulder exercise the day before I do my heavy bench. So that way I can make sure I can be at my prime for my SPD movements. But like of course for day 4 and day 5 I have to do squat on one day and then deadlift on the other day. But for most of it I try to move things around so I don't have to have my legs sore for squat and deadlift or have my upper body sore for bench. So yeah, starting with day 1, after I do my bench, I'm doing some banded pull-ups, some barbell overhead press, dumbbell skull crushers, and some banded glute bridge. I'm adding a lot more back work and shoulder work because like you need a strong back for all 3 of your lifts, and also you need strong shoulders for bench. And I've added in barbell overhead press. I used to hate barbell overhead press, but I changed my form and now it's so much better. I'll talk about that later. I've heard that it really carries well to barbell bench because it's like a compound movement, so that's why I'm adding it in. After doing my deadlifts, I'm doing T-bar row, and then I'm doing hammer curls, calf raises, and band face pulls. On day 3, after I do my bench work, I'm doing some negative pull-ups, some Bulgarian split squats, which I will also talk about later, how it's helping my knees, and then some lateral raise. On day 4, after squats, I'm doing rack chins, which is like pull-ups, but like you put the bar where you squat basically, and then you do pull-ups on that with your feet like on the bench in front of you. So it's like a upper body pull-up, and then you can load weight by putting it on your thighs, so it's like a good pull-up alternative. And then I do dumbbell overhead press, so more shoulder work, alternated bicep curls, and single arm tricep pushdowns. And then on my day 5, after I'm doing my deadlift and my hip thrust and my close grip bench, I'm doing Helms row and single leg RDLs. I have a back exercise every single day. I have 3 shoulder work, so I have my barbell overhead press, my dumbbell overhead press, and also my lateral raise. I have triceps twice a week, that's including close grip bench, and I have biceps twice a week. And then I have 2 hamstrings, 2 quads, and glutes. Compared to like my program from last time, which is like less exercises and not that much back and shoulder work, this is much more volume, and it's definitely going to help me progress more and get back to where I was. And I'm probably going to run this for 2 5-week blocks, with the 5th week being a deload, or depending on how I feel, I might push another week before doing a deload. And then after that, hopefully I'll be back to where I was, or like at least where I was without a peak. And then I'll probably have my friend coach me because he's really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention on my program, the reason why I only have 1 week and not like a lot of weeks is because I can still add 2 to 3 pounds on my bench every single week and 5 pounds on my deadlift every single week, considering that I deload every 5th week. So that's why there's no progressive overload written out. Like, I'm still doing it by adding weight or adding reps with all my exercises or increasing RPE, but it's just not written out because I can just do it by adding weight instead of having to like manually write it out. I can do this and progressive overload naturally. That usually doesn't work with intermediate to advanced athletes because you need a bunch of variations and like rep work and blah 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 to progress, but I'm still in recovery mode. So yeah, other than that, I just want to give a knee injury update. So it's been like 9 months since I injured my knee. I injured my knee towards the end of December, January. Like, the injury didn't come at once. It was like a gradual period where I had a little bit of knee irritation and like my knee would pop a lot, and then after like a month of that, it like kind of gave out and got injured. I have a whole series on my knee injury stuff and like what I did to help it get better and help like reduce the pain. But basically it's like a meniscus injury. I injured my left leg, and during that I injured because I used my right leg too much. So after like such a long time, it's finally down to a point where if I do the right things, I can control the pain and not have it affect my lifts. So things that I'm still doing are that I'm wearing knee sleeves or long pants. So in deadlifts, I don't want to wear long pants, so I'm wearing a thin pair of knee sleeves. It doesn't give me any bounce, it just keeps my knees warm. And for bench, I usually just wear long pants, or if I wear shorts, I will put on knee sleeves. Keeping my knees warm prevents any kind of pain and irritation because it keeps the blood flowing right there. So that's like the main thing that is preventing knee pain. But other than that, after such a long time, I finally think I've had the cause of my knee pain, and it's not like a certain thing or exercise that made me have the injury. It's more like a accumulation of a bunch of things throughout the years and like lifestyle stuff. So the first thing, which I talked about in one of my past videos, is that I'm flat-footed. So when I'm flat-footed, my feet like lean inward, and that causes like knee problems since your knees are supposed to be like this, but now my knees are like that because my feet angle this way, so my knees are inward. So that's why I injured the outer part of my meniscus. So whenever I'm doing exercises or even like just walking and standing, I have to be really conscious about putting my feet down so my toes are spread out and that I'm not caving, especially for squats. With deadlift, I stand pretty narrow, so I really don't run into that problem because my feet are like hip width. They're like even less than shoulder width, so I don't run into that problem. But like flat foot is the first thing, and the second thing is that I always keep my knees locked like when I stand. This is like just a lifestyle thing, but that's how I'm used to standing. But because I keep my knees locked, I don't use the muscles, I use the joints too much. And so I've been trying to stand with my knees not locked, and at first it was like really hard, but I've learned to do it. And also that has fixed my anterior pelvic tilt, and I tried fixing it in the past, but it's like so hard because I didn't find the root of the issue, which was my knees. So like I kept on standing like that, and like people would tell me like, you know, ribs down or like suck your stomach in, but that wouldn't help because my knees were so locked. So when I unlock my knees when I stand, like automatically the anterior pelvic tilt goes away. So that's the second thing. So it's like a combination of feet problems and knee problems. That's why on my squats, I sometimes don't lock my knees at the top of the lift. Of course, that won't count for like competition, but the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm just trying to reduce the number of times I lock my knee, especially with such heavy weight. It's not that I can't lock my knees or I don't have the ability to, I just don't want to do it to overwork my knees. So yeah, that's like the main root cause of my knee pain. On top of that, I have knee caving, which is also a result of having flat foot. I'm trying to like narrow my stance a little so I don't knee cave a lot. And also I'm just trying to be focused on how my feet are placed on the ground. And also last thing is that I'm working on my balance a lot. I want to like straighten each foot separately so I don't have an imbalance. That's why I'm doing single leg RDLs, which straighten my hamstrings and my balance. And then also I'm doing Bulgarian split squats, and I'm doing them pretty slow to like make sure my feet have a stable stance on the ground. And I try to go pretty low. I used to do Bulgarian split squats the wrong way. Like I put too much pressure on my back foot, which by putting so much pressure on your back foot, you're relying on that to balance yourself when you're supposed to be relying on your front foot to balance yourself. And when you rely on your front foot, you're actually like balanced. So when I put weight on my back foot, I'm actually not like standing correctly. I'm kind of like leaning inward, which is wrong. So I'm like trying to relearn all of this form and relearn how to do a lot of these exercises to make sure my muscles are balanced and to make sure I like grow those tiny muscles that like help support your joints. That's pretty much it for this week's video. I hope you guys learned something, and I'm probably not gonna make any more videos for my knee injury. I'm gonna like talk about it, but not like specifically talk about it for a very long time because it's like almost gone, and hopefully it stays that way and hopefully it like gradually goes away. So yeah, it's been a very long journey with this knee injury, and I'm glad it's like finally kind of going away if I don't stand for too long or if I don't overuse it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions on my program, let me know in the comments below. Comment down below what else you want me to make, what type of videos. Hopefully things get more exciting now that I'm lifting a bit more heavier now. Like the video if you did, and subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss another one of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.